big, deep exhales. Arriving in these evening or afternoon classes, it's an opportunity to just check in, to find yourself on the mat, to find yourself here and now, and to let yourself genuinely find this space, find this breath, and find this attention. Finding every inhale, tracing the body, maybe beginning to find that heat in our quads, tracing through any sensation that our body or our mind is hanging on to. And with your exhales, allowing yourself to feel a little bit more anchored to your space and to just let it go. So many fun things going on this week between daylight savings time happening this previous weekend, the holiday today, allowing yourself to find some joy in all of those experiences. But as I mentioned in my email, Bob's Burgers dropped some wisdom bombs on me this week. And that is the idea of just being okay with being with yourself, being okay in your mind, in this internal dialogue. That is meditation. That is what we're doing. We're tapping into that internal voice when we meditate and when we sit, and sometimes it's really easy to distract ourselves from that. And so my invitation for you all tonight is to possibly be okay with what that internal dialogue is, check in to see what it's telling you and to take it in for the good. So many times we look to distract or maybe assume that we know what's going to happen next or plan for the next upcoming movement or motion, especially when we practice our postures and then flow through them. Whereas more so, my hope for you this evening is to stay here and stay present, stay conscious in the right now, and not want to rush your life, not want to rush that experience. So if that is something that is speaking to you, finding a couple more big, deep breaths into that space, or as always, if there's anything else that you need from your time here tonight, allow yourself to find that right now. And we've got 2 to 3 big breaths. As you inhale, let that crown of your head reach towards the ceiling. As you exhale, anchor those seat bones down into your prop or into your legs. 2 more. Inhale, fill up those lungs. And then exhale, soften. This time, let's take our shoulders with us. Inhale those shoulders up to ears. And then as you exhale, roll them. Let those shoulder blades fall down the back and let it go. Taking those arms, bringing those arms into it, getting into our spine. Inhale, let those hands reach tall. And then as you exhale, let that right hand go to the outside of left thigh. Left hand is reaching behind you. If you're seated on a prop, it might just be hanging there in space, but really energetically pulling that left shoulder back in space, opening up through that front side of our body. One more big breath here. Inhale, feel that height, so let that crown go tall. Exhale, find that twist. Inhale, come back through midline, reach those fingertips tall. Moving into second side. Exhale, find that twist on the opposite side. Left hand comes to the outside of the right thigh. Right hand falls behind. And again, just going for that same sensation. As you inhale, feel that crown lift. As you exhale, open it up, find that nice gentle twist. On your next inhale breath, let those hands reach tall. As you exhale, baby back bend, opening up through that heart space, moving our spine in all directions. Inhale, those hands reach tall. Exhale, let them come down, landing in front of you, making your way into your tabletop posture. If that means moving some props out of the way, whatever you need to do to find your way into that tabletop. And then finding our sloshy movements here, shaking off the day, shaking off whatever is trying to distract us from right here, right now. Let yourself find this opportunity to focus in maybe at a point right on your mat, allowing yourself to find this space, feeling your connection with that mind, with that body, and then all the way into the breath. Keeping that going, let's find some cat-cows. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze. Feeling the sensation. I know this is a posture we do a lot, but genuinely feel how this shape feels for you here tonight and now. As you exhale, press the mat away, coil the belly up and in, curl it in, gaze goes to that navel, and feel the sensation. Stay here, stay on your mat, stay in this moment, twice more like that. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze. Exhale, press it away, coil it up and in, recognizing the different sensation as we move throughout this. Second time might have a different feel. Last one, inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze, opening up through that chest, feel those collarbones genuinely separate. And then as you exhale, feel the strength, that connection with that breath. As you exhale, you create almost a little bit of a vacuum in that belly, pulling that belly up and in. Inhale, breath. Find that nice neutral tabletop. Already here in this sensation, let that crown reach tall and forward. Hands come underneath the shoulders, maybe even a centimeter in front of the shoulders, and then step it back into your plank pose. Feel the power here. Inhale, one line of energy, feeling that energy radiate through the crown and through the heel. And then as you exhale, either staying in plank or dropping to knees, let your elbows graze your ribs. Take your time, make your way all the way to belly. Inhale, breath, let those hands rest right underneath those shoulders. 20 to 30% of your weight in your hands. Inhale, press it up, cobra pose. Exhale, let it sink. Again, something we do often, so don't let your mind wander here. Even though you know where we're going, enjoy this inhale breath as you press into cobra, toes, legs back. Exhale, release. Last one, finding the shape, finding that breath, finding that connection. Exhale, release, nice. On your next inhale breath, let yourself press up through that plank or tabletop. Let those hips lift high and back. First official downward facing dog. Let's take some nice big pedals through our feet. Deep bend into that right knee as you straighten through that left. Deep bend into that left knee as you straighten through the right. Inhale, let those hips lift a little bit higher. As you exhale, heart melt. Let's take some nice big bends into both knees, letting both knees come to hover about 2 inches above the mat, and then really pressing into those fingertips, letting those triceps radiate in towards your ears. Now keep that length with your upper torso. So from your tailbone through the crown of your head, pressing in with those fingers, not curling in, not losing any of that length. Straighten any amount you can through those legs. That might mean your heels lift up a little bit higher than normal. That's perfectly fine. Just finding that nice opportunity to feel the sensation of downward facing dog, to stay right here, to stay right now. One more big inhale breath into your intention, the space you need, whatever you are making sure you're taking off the mat tonight. Exhale it out. For our daylight savings time week, we're gonna find some good old sun salutations to warm it up here. It's welcoming ourselves into spring, into the light, into the sunshine, even with the snow on the ground, snowing this morning. Let's find this heat, let's find the energy, let's find the light. Inhale breath, let that right leg lift tall towards the sky. Reach it high, pressing into those fingertips. As you exhale, pull that knee into belly, into chest. Take your time, step it through, finding your way to that right thumb. You can always use your hand to get there. Inhale, breath, step that left foot forward to meet the right, landing in your forward fold. Inhale, breath, press into those shins. Find your halfway lift, crown reaches forward. Exhale, keep that lift in that chest as you find your forward fold. Head gets nice and heavy. Inhale, breath, reverse swan dive it. Stand it tall, mountain pose, really radiate high. Exhale, find a little baby back bend, cactus those arms. Inhale, breath, reach those fingertips tall. Exhale, swan dive it, find that forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, reset that spine. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. Inhale, breath, step it back with that right leg, and then meet it with the left, plank pose. Take your time, stay here in this moment in your body with control. Make your way all the way to belly. We do a ton of connecting vinyasas, but enjoy every single one for what it is. Press those toes in, legs, low back, inhale, breath, 30 to 30% of the weight in your hands, cobra pose. Exhale, release. Inhale, press it up through plank or tabletop, hips lift high and back, downward facing dog. Finding a nice big inhale breath as you inhale those hips high. Exhale, let those hearts melt towards those legs. And then inhale, breath. Let that left leg reach tall towards the sky. Really radiate it high. Exhale, pull that knee into chest, into belly with control, belly then chest. And then gently step it through, finding that left thumb. You can always use your hand to get there. Let that right foot come up to meet left. And on your exhale, melt into that forward fold. Inhale, find your halfway lift. Press those shins in, hands into shins, long spine, reaching forward. Exhale, melt into that forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive it high, all the way up, letting those fingertips reach up. Exhale, baby back bend. Inhale, hands reaching tall. Exhale, swan dive it, find that forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. Inhale, step it back with that left foot. And then take your time, let that right come to meet it, plank pose. Exhale, slow as you can go, slower than last time. Enjoy this descent all the way to belly. Press those toes in. Feel that sensation of the low body engage. Inhale, breath, find your cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, press it up. Find that plank or tabletop. Hips lift high and back. Downward facing dog. We've gone through a couple motions. Check in, make sure your mind is still here, still on your mat, still in this present opportunity. Inhale, let that right leg lift tall, reach it high. Exhale, slow as you can go. Really feel every step of this posture, pulling that knee up and through. Gently step it through, right thumb, and then let that left come to meet right. On an exhale, melt into that forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, find your forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive it high, mountain pose. Maybe this time let those fingertips touch overhead. Exhale, open it up. Baby back bend, shine that heart. Inhale, reach it tall. Exhale, find that forward fold, swan dive it down. Inhale, half lift. Find that nice long spine, crown reaching forward. Exhale, hands to mat. Inhale, step it back with your right foot, and then meet it with left. And then with control, all the way to belly. Keep it nice and compact. Let those elbows come in. Toes press down into the mat. Knees engaged. Low back. Inhale. Press it up. Find your nice, beautiful cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale. Press it up through that plank or tabletop. Hips high and back. Downward facing dog. Last sun salutation opportunity here. Again, my invitation is to not find autopilot, to not just let your body move, but genuinely be intentional with every single movement, with every single muscle contraction, every single ligament. Let yourself feel the sensation of all these postures. Inhale, let that left leg reach towards the sky. Reach it high. Exhale, intentionally pull that belly up and in, lifting that knee towards chest, looking at that left thumb, soft landing, step it through. Inhale, engage that right leg, step it up and forward. As you exhale, release those muscles behind your neck, letting your head fall nice and heavy. Inhale, elongate through that spine. Feel that actual ribbon pulling your crown forward. Exhale, melt into that forward fold, releasing through those supportive muscles. Inhale, finding that engagement. Reverse swan dive it high, all the way up. Mountain pose, fingertips touch. Exhale, radiate that heart. Open it up, baby back bend. Inhale, hands come high. Standing tall, mountain pose. Exhale, swan dive it. Find that forward fold. Head is nice and heavy. Inhale, halfway lift. Feel that engagement. Feel the support that you are offering yourself while your body feels nice and elevated, nice and buoyant. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. Head feels nice and heavy. Inhale, breath. Step it back with that left foot. Meet it with right. One line of energy. Feel all of those big muscles nice and engaged. Feel that connection, that support underneath our toes and our hands. And then as you exhale, make your way to belly. Press into the tops of those toes. Inhale, breath. Roll it up like a wave. Cobra pose. Exhale, release. Inhale, breath. Press it up through that plank or tabletop. Hips high and back. 3 to 5 breaths, downward facing dog here. Take your time, feeling those hips nice and elevated. As you exhale, let that heart melt. Let's find that nice, beautiful setup. Bend those knees again, letting those knees hover about an inch above the mat. Press in with those fingertips, really activating through all 5 fingers, feeling every pad press into the mat, letting that crown reach towards the mat, feeling that nice long line of energy. And then on an exhale, go ahead and straighten any amount through those legs. Just feeling that nice elongated energy. As those hips lift high, you feel that heart melt. One more big breath here in this resting, this rejuvenating, this opportunity to check in with your intention. Stay here. Find that exhale. Inhale, breath. Roll it forward like a wave. Curl through that spine. Find your way into your plank pose to start. Again, not losing that connection with all of these big muscles. And then drop down to those knees, making your way into a tabletop, and then standing it tall onto our knees. So you do have an opportunity to grab the blanket, especially if the ground underneath your mat is a little bit more firm, a little bit less forgiving. Let your knees land about hip width distance. So we want to find a nice, strong, stable base. You can take your toes together behind you to create a little bit more of a diamond, or they can stick out right behind you as an 11. So find your stability. We're going to be really focusing on our quads tonight, really focusing on this low back support. So we're going to find that support by engaging our core here. So we're compressing our core. We're shortening that distance between our hip bones and our rib cages. And now reach your hands out as though you have a tray in your hands. And then we're going to lean it back. We're not sending our booty back. We're not sitting back. We're keeping a nice, strong, straight spine. And we're going to lean it back. And then as you exhale, pull those elbows back in and pull that tray back towards yourself. Keeping that crown nice and tall. Big inhale. And then exhale, lean it back. Inhale, pull it up. Exhale, sit it back. Inhale, pull it up. Make sure you're leaning back to the point where you feel that sensation from those quads all the way up through your core. Exhale, pull those elbows up and in. Inhale, lean it back. Exhale, pull it in. We've got 5. Last 4. Lean it up. Again, we're not sending our booty back. We're staying nice and engaged, nice and strong. Crown is reaching high. Last 2. One more. And pull it up. Go ahead, find your way into a tabletop. You can find cat-cows, maybe wagging your tail side to side. Whatever you need to do to release through those quads, through those hip flexors, maybe through that low spine. And then curl over those ankles or sweep them out to the side. We're gonna find that same sensation, but now we're supported on the ground. Now we're seated on the earth. So to set up here, just like we did when we were elevated, feel that nice straight spine, engage that core, shorten that distance between your ribs and your hip creases. Finding that nice long straight spine, and then step those heels out slightly, coming up to your heels. Toes are pulling back towards your knees. You can keep your hands elevated over knees or maybe behind knees as well. If you can feel it here, if your core is really nice and engaged, you're here. This is it. If you feel like you want to up level, if you have energy left from tonight and you would like to give it a try, go ahead and lift that right leg, then lift that left, leaning back slightly, but keep that chest nice and proud. Keep that heart pulling up and through. This is core work. We're working on our belly, so we're not curling into our spine. We're staying nice and lifted. Whew. It's hard to come back into after demoing it wrong, so keep that heart nice and lifted. And then option to release that grip. If you have it, reaching those hands out wide, coming into full boat. Whichever level you're at, ankles on the ground, finding the clasp behind your fingers, or even hands out wide. We're here for 5. Careful to not sink into that low spine for 4. Last 3, if you would like, you can extend through those legs. Hold it tall, not sinking into that low spine for 2. And on 1, go ahead, roll down onto that back. Find a nice little sway side to side. Pull those knees into chest. If you would like, you can find a variation of happy baby, if that feels good, or keeping those knees close in towards chest. Your choice, your option. Once you feel like you have given that low spine a little bit of massage, you can breathe deeply into your belly again. Go ahead, cross over those ankles. Begin to rock and roll up and down the length of your spine. And then make enough of momentum that you can step back into your plank pose. Again, I'm sure you all know where we're going. So find the enjoyment on this descent. Elbows grazing those ribs. Feel the strength in your body. Toes press in. Inhale, breath. Press it up, cobra pose. Exhale, release. Inhale, press it up through plank or tabletop. Hips travel high and back. Downward facing dog. 3 reactivating breaths here. 3 connecting breaths here. 3 breaths focused in on your intention, on the space, on your here and now. It's usually in these holds, it's usually in these resting postures or these rejuvenating postures that we begin to let the outside world sneak into our practice, that we begin to let our laundry list, maybe it's quite literally laundry, whatever it is, might sneak in right here. Just check it. Notice that it's happening and say, you'll be there after my class. I'm going to spend the next few moments here in my own space, in my own breath, and just let it go. On your next inhale breath, right leg lifts towards the sky. Reach it up and tall. And then with control, exhale, pull it into belly, pull it into chest, look at that right thumb, and then gently step it through. Here's an opportunity for the props if you do have them, books, jars, yoga blocks. If you don't, no worries. You don't need them by any means. You can just reach those tented fingertips towards the ground. Inhale, breath. Let your crown and heart reach forward, kind of like an exalted low lunge, shining that heart. And then as you exhale, straighten through that front leg, any amount. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be fully straight. twice more like that. Inhale, sit it low, find that lunge, that exalted low lunge, shine that heart. Exhale, reach those hips high and back, straightening through that front leg, any amount. Once more, sit it low. As you exhale, reach it back. We're gonna hold here, so really energetically pull that right hip back and in towards that right hip flexor. Let that left hip flexor tick-tock forward, letting those hearts melt down towards those shins. But let's try and not collapse into our neck. Let's try and stay nice and active. One more big breath here. Soften something on your exhale. Now letting that left hand find that prop or find the ground wherever you are. Make sure there's a nice strong connection. Inhale breath, let that right hand open up high, finding a nice twisted variation of our pyramid, rotated variation. This shifts our perspective, it shifts our vision, it might shift our balance slightly. Try and not rush this. Try and stay right here and right now. Enjoy the wiggle wobbles. Enjoy this different perspective. One more big breath. Inhale, really fly up and open, shine that heart. Exhale, hands come back down to the mat. Deep bend into that front knee. Really, again, pulling that right hip up and back, letting that left hip sink forward. Inhale, let those hands shine high into our crescent lunge. As you inhale, really reach those fingertips tall, finding that nice strong alignment as that ribbon is pulling your crown high. And then exhale, sit it low, pressing into those back toes, keeping nice and active in that back leg. One more big breath here. And then as you exhale, hands come all the way down to the mat, moving props out of the way if you've got them. Drop down to that back knee, option for a towel underneath that back knee if you would like. And then heel toe that right foot out to the outside edge of both hands. Moving into our runner's lunge variation. But that said, really focus in here on this back left hip flexor. We're really finding that nice open quad sensation, that nice hip flexor sensation. So again, find that left hand nice and stable on the ground. You can find that left hand on a prop if you would like as well. And then gently press into that right knee and find a nice open sensation. Let those shoulders drop down. We're not holding them up in space. We're finding the connection with our legs, with our body, with our core to hold us up here. We've got a couple more big breaths. You can even roll onto the outer edge of that right foot. But again, breathing into that left hip flexor, breathing into that left quad. One more big breath. Exhale, gently release from that twist. Heel toe that foot back in towards midline. And then once those hips are on straight, inhale, let those fingertips reach tall. Finding our low lunge setup. As you exhale, let your heart open up to bring the palms back down to your low spine. Thumbs are going to be facing in towards each other. We're pressing into our ribs with our fingertips. And what this does is really allows our shoulders to open up. Inhale breath, grow that crown tall, come out of that lunge slightly. And then as you exhale, open it up into this half camel pose, reaching through that back leg, feeling that nice open sensation through the chest. Elbows are reaching towards each other, and we're not finding a pez neck. We're not dropping our neck all the way back. We're staying nice and connected with our breath, with our body, with our space. Two more big breaths here. As you exhale, maybe find a little bit more depth, a little bit more heart opener. Try and stay. Don't rush it. Don't push your way through this. Inhale, gently come out, finding that low lunge. Hands come high. Exhale, hands come down to frame that front foot. Engage through that back knee. Inhale, step it back, plank pose. Finding that connection, feeling the strength here. Exhale, make your way to belly. Inhale, breath, press it up, cobra pose. Exhale, release. Inhale, press it up through plank or tabletop. Hips travel high and back. Downward facing dog. Soak this moment up. Enjoy the feeling of one side versus the other, the difference in sensation, allowing your breath to travel towards each side. Deep bend in those knees. Let those knees hover. Press into those fingertips. Really feeling that length in that upper torso. And then as you exhale, straighten any amount through those legs. One more big breath. Exhale, soften through something, but stay here. Inhale, let that left leg reach tall. Exhale, take your time. Pull that knee into belly. Feel that sensation, pulling it into chest. Look at that left thumb. Go ahead, step it through. Use your hands if you need to. Again, option for props here, finding that nice wide stable base, or you can find tented fingertips as well, whichever is available to you. Inhale, find that halfway lift into that lunge. Really shine that heart up and forward. Exhale, straighten any amount through that front leg and let yourself melt over that front leg by staying nice and engaged. Twice more like that. Inhale, come into that lunge, reaching through that back leg, shine that heart. Exhale, straighten any amount, even if it's a millimeter. That sensation is yours, but find that sensation, enjoy it. Use that as your intention. Once more, inhale, shine that heart, deep lunge. Exhale, straighten into that pyramid pose. We're here for a couple moments. So take this time, pull that left hip flexor, that left hip back and in, feeling those hips on straight as that right hip knocks forward. Keeping that heart nice and long, that spine nice and tall. Letting yourself find this beautiful option, this beautiful pyramid pose. Inhale, breath. Keep that right hand nice and engaged, either on the ground or on your prop, and then breathe that left hand high. Making your way into this twist. This really allows for that hip alignment to really check in, to find that sensation while you're opening up through your heart space. You're reaching tall with that right or left hand, and again, finding that shift in perspective, shift in balance, but not wanting to rush it, not wanting to jump into the next thing. One more big breath. Exhale, hands come down to the mat or down to those props. Deep bend into that front knee. Check in with your balance here. Check in with your hip alignment. And then inhale, sit it tall, stand it tall. Let those fingertips reach high. Crescent lunge. Feeling the setup here now. Hips pulling back in. Right hip back and in, left hip back and in, right hip forward. Fingertips reaching tall. Sit it a little bit lower. One more, big breath here. Exhale, hands come down to that mat, framing that front foot or down onto props. Drop it down to that back knee and then heel toe that left foot out to the sides of both hands. Setting up here, finding that nice, beautiful twist. Right hand is either on the mat or on a block. Test it out, whichever one feels best for you. And then that left hand comes up and in towards that left leg, finding that nice, beautiful twist, that nice, beautiful open sensation. Again, we're not sinking into our shoulders here. Keep that heart nice and tall and proud, that spine nice and elongated, and then even allowing your left foot to roll up onto that nice edge, that nice pinky edge. One more big breath. Use that exhale, go to your limit. Inhale, gently tick-tock those feet back in towards midline, neutral low lunge. Inhale, reach those fingertips tall, coming out of that lunge slightly, and then keep it going. Exhale, let those fingertips go straight up those ribs, thumbs in towards your spine, and then already here, squeeze those elbows in towards each other. Activate through those shoulder blades. Reach it nice and tall. Crown is lifting high. And then on an exhale breath, you can find your way into that half camel posture. Again, I'm sorry I didn't cue it beforehand, but always an option for a blanket underneath that back knee if you need a little bit more cushion. Keeping that heart nice and proud, that crown reaching tall. We're not sinking back. We're letting ourselves feel this nice, beautiful front side body opener and not rushing it. It's a big posture. We're totally supported by the earth, but there's a lot of sensation here. There's a lot of energy. Give it 2 more big breaths. Use those exhales to soften, to maybe go a little bit deeper. Last one. And then on an inhale, gently come back through neutral. Fingertips reach tall. Exhale, hands come down to frame that front foot. Engage through that back knee. Inhale, step it back, plank pose. Yogi's choice here. You can flow through a connecting vinyasa or just lift those hips high and back, straight into down dog. If you are traveling towards your mat, inhale, press it up, cobra pose. Exhale, release. Inhale, press those hips high and back, downward facing dog. You can find some nice little tail wags here. You can find stillness or any wiggle wobbles you need. Just checking it out. Both sides are balanced. Both sides feel nice and connected. Our brain, our body, our breath is all connected. Finding this opportunity to check in with our intention, to stay here, to stay now, to give yourself this space. We're going to find all of those similar movements with some slight variations, some slight opportunities, but this time, rather than hanging out in the sensation, we are going to find breath to body movement. So in some cases, our mind tends to wander when we're in stillness, but in other cases, our mind tends to wander when we're letting ourselves flow. So again, not that you need the reminder, I've been pretty insistent this whole time, but try and feel this sensation. Try and feel each of these postures and try and feel the power that connecting with our breath, what that brings to the table, what that brings to this practice. So again, if you do catch yourself wandering or traveling into what's next for the evening, totally fine. Just give yourself a little check and come right back to the space. Alrighty, let's find this dance. Inhale that right leg high to the sky. Reach those toes up. Exhale, breath. Pull that knee into belly, into chest. Look at that right thumb. Gently step it through using your hand to get there if you need to. Props available if you'd like. Inhale, shine that heart, tented fingertips if not. Exhale, straighten any amount through that front leg. Inhale, shine that heart, keep that crown nice and tall, nice and long. Exhale, millimeter, inches, feet, however much amount you can straighten through that front leg. Once more. Inhale, find that nice shine. Exhale, straighten through that leg. Inhale, breath. Let that left hand stay nice and anchored. Let that heart melt on your exhale. Inhale that right hand high. Find that twist. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. Deep bend in that front knee. Inhale, sit it tall. Use your exhale, go to your crescent lunge. Inhale, fingertips reach tall. Exhale, hands come down to frame your foot. Here comes one of our changes. Straight into your connecting vinyasa. Inhale, step it back. Plank pose. Exhale, with control. Stay here. Check your mind. Find your way all the way to belly. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, release. Inhale, press it up. Your plank or tabletop. Hips high and back. Downward facing dog. One big re-energizing breath here. Inhale, press into those fingertips. Exhale, elongate through that spine. Inhale, left leg lifts tall. Exhale, pull that knee into belly, into chest, looking at that left thumb, gently step it through, making our way into those pyramid flows. Inhale, tented fingertips are propped, shine that heart, crown is high. Exhale, straighten any amount through that front leg, find that nice forward fold. Pull that left hip back into space. Inhale, shine that crown. Exhale, sit it back. Once more. Inhale, find the length. Feel that open sensation through that back leg. Exhale, any amount through that front leg. Use your breath to set it up here. Inhale, right hand is nice and anchored. Find that fold on your exhale. Inhale, breath. Left hand reaches tall and proud. Use your entire inhale. Fill up. Really fly in this posture. Exhale, hand comes back down to mat. Deep bend into that front knee. Press into those back toes. Inhale, shine it high. Exhale, sit it low, crescent lunge. Inhale, reach those fingertips tall. Exhale, hands come down to frame that front foot. Step it back, plank pose. You're connecting vinyasa, your breath, your control. Don't rush it. Don't speed this along. Enjoy every moment. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, press it up through plank or tabletop. Hips high and back. Downward facing dog. One big breath here. Inhale those hips high. Exhale, elongate through that torso. Inhale, roll it forward into our plank pose, and then drop down to those knees, tabletop, and then sit it all the way back into our kneeling seated posture, just like we opened up class. So options coming up here. We've got 2 rounds of camel coming up. So similar to that half camel, we're not gonna find pez neck. We're not letting our head drop back into space. We're keeping our entire spine, our entire spinal column nice and engaged, nice and protected while we shine through our heart, while we shine through our chest. I know many of you have seen the setup for this before. So if you have a way you like to get into camel, by all means, that is there for you. The 2 options that you have available, feel free to just watch for right now, and then I'll cue us as we go into our 2. So the first one is starting from the seated posture. So your heels are already accessible. They're already here. So we feel that nice tall crown, and we're gonna scoop our heels in. So our thumbs are gonna be on the outside, fingertips are gonna be on the inside. So we're reaching up through our heart and shining our heart. And then inhale, breath, cultivate that energy. As you exhale, you press your heels forward. Again, we're not sinking our head back. We're staying nice and engaged, nice and lifted as our heels are connected. Option number 2 is starting from an elevated posture. So we're on our knees. Knees are about hip width distance like we set up with core. And then we're gonna start with our hands in our low back, just like we did in that half camel. Thumbs are in towards the spine, fingertips are up and in, big inhale breath. And then as you exhale, you begin to press those hips forward and back, keeping that neck nice and engaged. And if you would like, then you can reach back for your heels. But whichever variation you would like to try, again, we're gonna go through it twice so you can find each and both and allow yourself to test them out. It's a big posture, so give yourself time to sit here, to feel maybe a little discomfort, maybe a little bit energized, a little bit tingly, and to try and not rush this moment. So setting up either variation, my first round I'm going to take from the ground. As you inhale, feel that crown lift you nice and tall either way. And then as you exhale, begin to press those hips forward, either pressing into those ribs or hanging on to those heels, and then find your breath. opening up through that heart, keeping that neck nice and engaged. Sometimes closing eyes helps. Sometimes finding a drishti point helps. Keep those hips reaching forward, not sinking into that low spine. We're here for 3. Last 2. And on 1. Gently come out the same way you entered. Make your way all the way down into a seated kneel posture. Hands can rest on legs or hands can come to heart. Either way, find a drishti point or even eyes closed and just check in here. Heart rate might be elevated, breath rate might be elevated. That's a good thing. That's our body showing us we're alive. Try and not dread or be excited for or look forward to or not into the next few moments. Give yourself this time, here and now. Soak up all those tinglies. Let yourself return back to neutral. And now setting up for second round. You can set up either way. You can take the same variation or the opposite variation. My second round, I'm taking from the elevated variation. Big inhale breath here. Fill that crown lift nice and tall, either clasping those ankles or pressing those fingertips into those ribs, opening up through that heart space wherever you are. Pull those shoulders back and open, letting those elbows reach towards each other. Find that nice elongation, and then as you exhale, lean those hips forward. Find your way into this big back bend, and then give yourself permission to find the depth. Press those hips forward a little bit more. Shine that heart a little bit more. Feel the sensation. Stay here and now. You're here for 3. Always an option to exit if you need to, but try and hang on for 2. And 1. Come out the same way you went in. Returning hands back to the low spine. And sit it down. Finding this opportunity to soak it up. Last seated posture of class. Hands come down to those thighs or to heart center. Eyes closed, your gaze soft. Just soak it up. Letting yourself engage here. Letting Augie cheer you on for all these tingles, this buzz, the sensation that you just found in your space, here and now. As you feel ready, let those eyes flutter open. And then just gently make your way onto your seat. So either sweeping those legs out to the side, rolling those ankles over, and then give yourself one last time. Feel that crown lift nice and tall. And then as you exhale, melt down vertebrae by vertebrae. Make your way all the way onto the mat. Give yourself time here to set up, rearrange, making sure those hips feel in alignment, that low spine is pressing down into the mat. And then keeping that left knee bent, left foot anchored onto the ground. Inhale breath, reach up for that right foot. So you can find the outside edge of the foot or the inside edge. I believe we have a cat in our yard. And let yourself ankle back and in. Feeling yourself, yes, our neighborhood cat is saying hello. And really anchor that ankle into that hand, pulling that knee in towards chest, giving yourself this nice, beautiful half baby, using that left foot to really anchor down and in to give yourself that support. So it's giving that low spine a little bit of massage as you really find yourself anchoring, pulling yourself in here. One more. Use that exhale, go a little bit deeper. Gently swap it out with the left. So right foot comes down to the mat, right knee is bent, anchor that foot down and in, and then inhale that left knee up in towards chest, grasping towards the outer edge or inner edge if that's more comfortable on your shoulders. Whichever way, you can just let yourself feel nice and heavy. Low spine is pressing down into that mat, supported with that right leg, and really allowing that weight of your left hand to pull that left knee closer towards the earth. A couple more big breaths here. Use this time to balance out, to find that sensation we found on that right-hand side, and giving yourself this opportunity to just reconnect both sides. Once you feel balanced, let that left foot anchor back down towards the earth. Heel toe those feet out wide as the mat, and then give yourself some nice big windshield wipers. Hands can rest out to the side, hands can rest on belly, hands can rest on heart. Wherever you need a little bit more connection, give yourself at least 3 on each side. Camel is a really big back bend, obviously. A really big heart opener. It gets into our quads. It uses our glutes. It opens up our core girdle. So it's a lot. So once you feel balanced, just let your knees knock in towards each other. Take one hand to heart, one hand to belly, and let your gaze go soft, maybe even eyes closed, and give yourself just a couple big breaths here to really find this opportunity to press in that low spine, to feel this connection. Moving into our supine twist. As you inhale, heel toe those feet back in towards the midline, and allow yourself to find a neutral position with the spine. Let that left leg go nice and long. Inhale that right knee up and in towards chest. Give yourself a tight squeeze here. And then as you exhale, let that left hand guide that right knee up and over towards the left. Your right hand can come out to a T, maybe even out into a goal post. And you can keep your neck neutral, especially if camel is still really sticking with you. Or if you would like to complete that twist, you can let your gaze fall over towards that right hand side. Giving yourself 3 big breaths here. Inhale, breathe into your sensation on your side body. Yet again, opening up through that chest, opening up through those hips, but allowing yourself to just feel supported, to find this sensation through breath and through the connection we have with the earth. On your next inhale breath, gently come back through midline. Give that right knee one more squeeze to itself, massaging that low belly. And then swap it out with the left. Right leg goes nice and long. Inhale that left knee up and in. And then as you're ready, let that right hand guide it over towards the right, left knee towards the right. And then left hand comes out to a T or a goal post or whatever is making you comfortable. And find the same variation. If you found your gaze towards the side, on the opposite side, let it fall to the left. Or keep it neutral and give yourself 3 really big, sweet breaths. Last one, biggest, deepest inhale, biggest, deepest exhale. Inhale back through neutral. Pull both knees up in towards chest. Activate through your feet, your lower legs, upper legs, glutes and belly. Feel all those muscles nice and strong and contracted. Feel the back, the shoulders, the chest engage. Scrunch through your fingers, your arms, your biceps, your triceps. Now bring your neck up and in. Let your face come up towards your knees. Now scrunch your face. Activating every single muscle in your body. And then as you exhale, take up some space. Let your legs go out wide. Hands fall away from body. Option for a blanket or that towel to drape across your midline to give yourself a little bit more grounding energy, a little bit more warmth, a little bit more comfort. and let yourself float off into Shavasana. Gently begin to bring some awareness back into the space, back into your room, and back onto your mat. Let that awareness enter into your breath, into your fingers, and into your toes, letting those appendages begin to wake up by finding some nice little wiggle wobbles. And then once you feel like you have fully arrived back into your mind, on an inhale breath, let your fingertips reach up overhead, toes reach forward, and a nice big deep stretch. From this point, with it being an evening class, recognize if you need a little bit more energy, a little bit more light, you'll roll over onto your right side. If you need a little bit more lunar energy, a little bit more moon, a little bit more relaxation, gently roll over onto your left. Either side, finding your bicep as a pillow, knees pull up in towards chest. And give yourself just a final moment here to feel this presence, to feel this awareness, and to feel so good in the here and now. Keeping your eyes closed, your gaze soft, use your opposite hand to press you up into a comfortable seated position towards the top of your mat. Once you're there, bring your hands together at heart center, press those thumbs into sternum, drop chin towards chest, and thank self for giving yourself this hour of breath, body, and mind connection, this permission to just be with yourself here and now. I'm going to close out class tonight with an Irish proverb, which I think really sums up what our yoga practice is all about, and that is, may your troubles be less, your blessings be more, and nothing but happiness come through our door. And in other words, namaste.